Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Kashif Booth podcast. If you're new here, each week I sit down with a guest and we discuss their career so far, the highs, the lows, and what's next for them. Today's guest is Ellouise Shakespeare-Hart. She's an actress from London. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming on. It's so funny because I've been doing this season. I started last year, and I had to put it on a hiatus, and now we're almost at the end, finally. Yeah. And you've been on my list for ages, but I was like, okay, I need to get through all these people, and here we go. Because I've known Eloise
Oh,
for a while, and it's
yeah,
like I've known you for a while. We've almost worked with each other twice, but
yeah.
then budget is always a thing. And then, but we've been able to just still keep in
Keep in
contact,
contact. Yeah.
even just for social media. But oh, I'm at the Bridgerton reimagining secret cinema
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
You're there. I was like, oh, hello. So you're
Um,
basically you get around. So that was really
yeah.
cool as well. So how was that for you? Because I know Josh was in it, who was playing the Duke.
Yeah.
I worked with Josh on my web series, Nate and Jamie. So what was that experience like for you?
Um, it was new
Mhm.
because I'd never done, and sorry if I'm looking at you, and then there's Les, but I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Um, I'd never done like kind of a improvised show before.
Yeah.
I like improvisation, but I've never done it before. But when I went to the audition, I really enjoyed it. It was like one of the most enjoyable audition experiences that I've had before.
Mhm.
And you had to dance. I am not a dancer, but I had to dance. You had to do some improv there.
Mhm.
And it's not always like you know when you know kind of situation, but all you can do is go into an audition and have fun, I think. And because I genuinely had such a good time, I was like, I'm happy.
Mhm.
Whatever happens, happens. And so when I got it, I was like, okay, what does this entail? It's hard work.
Mhm.
It is hard work because it's similar to theatre in that obviously you've got a different audience every night. So the reaction is always going to be different.
Yeah.
But because of the way you're interacting with the audience is very like close up, personal. Like
Right.
I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, kind of thing. You never
Mhm.
know what you're going to get,
Mhm.
and you just
Mhm.
have to bounce off of whatever you're given.
Yeah.
But I do think that it is a great learning experience. Improv, anyway, is a great thing to learn from. So to
Yeah. Yeah.
get to do it with different members of the public every night, I
Mhm.
think was really, it helped me a lot anyway, kind of my technique and how I work.
I bet because when I spoke to Josh, who played the Duke, he was
Mm,
saying the fans were crazy. Like they were coming up to him saying the most explicit things. They were grabbing him in inappropriate
yeah.
areas as well. And it's like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, people take it serious. I mean, I know he doesn't look like Reggie. Was it Reggie John Paul? I think that's the actor's name. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got I've been telling Josh for years, you need to go in your rom-com bag because you will be you'll be making a lot of
Yeah,
money. But
man.
he wants to be the Denzel Washington. I'm like, I get you, but trust me, that's the money maker.
He did change his Instagram once to what was it, the Duke of it
Mhm.
used to be the Fresh Prince of, was it Finesse? And then he
Finesse,
changed it to
yes.
the Duke of Finesse, and he was like so proud of
Yeah.
it.
Typical, typical, typical.
It was
That's why,
funny.
it's funny. You probably don't know this. My web series, Nate and Jamie, that he was in, is based off a story he told me. So the very first episode that we
I know
shot
that,
is
no?
based on a story he told me. And
Mm,
because him and his best friend just used to get up to madness. So that just sounds like him.
yeah,
So, but I remember coming and I remember because I knew he was in it. And so, but I told Josh, he didn't even know I was coming. So it was fun to see your reactions when you saw me just strolling in
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
just love how you didn't break character. It was very, very good. And I just think it's good for every actor to do that because it makes you think
It,
on your toes as well.
it's so enjoyable. Like, obviously,
Hmm.
every single night is tiring,
I
but
bet.
for the audience, every single night is, well, when they come, it's new to them. So it might not
Mhm.
be new to you, but it's new to them.
Yeah.
So trying to think of new ways to
Mhm.
entertain the audience, but also entertain yourself because you've got to make it fun for yourself as well.
Yeah.
So like because I played Alice Mondrich, and we had like this gym. So um Corey, who was playing my husband, he and I basically were like, right, so what could we do? And everybody else in the gym, we kind of came up with ideas that we could do. So we had different competitions.
Mhm.
We had like planking competitions, which was so much fun because people really did get involved.
Yeah.
And each time people just would react differently, say different things. Like it was great. Obviously, there were times where you might have people say questionable things,
Mhm.
and you just kind of have to. It depends on what it is, but for me, I would just come at them in character and
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
tell
yeah,
them what.
yeah.
Especially when I was covering the Queen,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
pretty much had free reign
Mhm.
to just be like, "Get out of here, just go."
Yes.
So yeah,
Perfect. Because if people don't know, like, it's such an immersive experience. Like, if you're a fan of these shows, like, they're literally recreating the scenes you've watched on the
yeah,
show or in the film, and
yeah,
with actors. And I had never watched Bridgerton, so I was
yeah,
just watching, like, oh wow, like for the first time, and it was just so good to just see the storyline play out as to why people fell in love
yeah,
with this such of big franchise as well. And I
yeah.
jokingly said to Josh, why is it you keep losing the fight? So like because his character was constantly getting beaten up. So I think it's so good. And even if you're just a fan of any show, definitely I recommend going. So let's
It's
take
so
it.
enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just to say, it's really. I went to
Yeah.
the Romeo and Juliet one, and that's one
Oh
of my
wow.
favorite films,
Hmm.
Baz Luhrmann version. And they recreated that one, and that was
Yeah.
amazing. And I kept on saying to them, please,
Hmm.
please do Buffy. Like, please, I love Buffy.
Yes.
I'm a Buffy fangirl through and
Hmm.
through. I was like, please, like,
Hmm.
you don't even have to do the whole thing. You could just focus on one season. Like, please,
Hmm.
you would have
Yeah.
so many people
Hmm.
attend that one. But
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
I
The
tried.
fangirl about Buffy. Oh, but that's not this interview. Okay, because because do you know they was gonna do a reboot, but I don't know what
Yeah.
happened with that. But yeah, oh my, okay. Slight segue. If they were to do one season like what you did with Bridgerton, what
Mm,
season would you want them to do?
good question. Ooh, season five is always like season five is one of my favorites.
Same, same.
But it's quite heavy,
It
season
is.
five.
It
So
is.
I think they would probably start with maybe season one because it's a lot lighter.
Hmm.
But there are episodes in season five, like Hush, which is just insane.
Hmm.
But I think it'd be very difficult to
Yeah,
do a
yeah, yeah,
completely
yeah, yeah.
silent
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
one. But
yeah.
yeah, probably season one they'd end
Yeah,
up
yeah.
doing, I
Season
reckon.
one's a good one actually. Yeah, because it's just like the her moving to Sunnydale and the whole thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with that. And building her team. Yeah, so I
Exactly.
think that would be very good. But I think if it was just like a theater show, definitely season
Mm,
five. Like if they just
yeah.
wanted to do a show, season five, yeah, especially the finale. If you know,
Oh,
you know. That's what I'm gonna say.
yeah.
If you know, you
I've
know.
literally been rewatching it
Mm.
and like I cry every time I rewatch season five. I cry.
It was
So yeah.
if you know, you know. If you know, you know. That's what I'm gonna say. So yeah, yeah, they really need to do something with that. But anyway, so tell me about you. How did you get started as an actress?
Um, it's kind of by accident, to be honest, because when I think I was about six, and my mum just enrolled me in like, those little drama academies,
Mhm.
extracurricular drama academies for confidence, basically. And funny story, they actually had ITV come to see the kids and they
Mm,
were picking them for this might be way before some people's time, but there
okay.
was a show that Anton Deck used to do
Mm-hmm.
called SMTV. They did it
Oh,
with Cat Dealey,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And
I
so I
remember.
went on there to challenge Anne. I lost. My dad kept on saying to me, ask reggae questions, ask reggae questions. I was like, Dad, nobody's going to be interested in questions about reggae. I've
Mhm,
got to ask questions about pop. And obviously they got it. But anyway, I
mhm,
digress. So yeah, I went there
mm,
and I just really enjoyed it. I had fun doing it. Obviously, I did that little SMTV thing, but that wasn't anything really. And then I went to secondary school and again, just really enjoyed drama.
mhm,
And my drama teacher, he said to me, "Oh, there's this thing called National Youth Theatre. Like
mhm,
Orlando Bloom went there, like lots of other people went there. Maybe you'd be interested in like auditioning." Obviously, I didn't really read much about it. I was just like, "Oh, Orlando Bloom went there. Yeah, I'll do that." So I went and auditioned. I still vaguely remember the audition piece that I did, and it was quite. I wish I could find it again because it was a great piece. But I did it, and I got in, and I was just like, yes, I got in, great. Did the 2 week course. And I was like, I'm part of the National Youth Theatre. I did nothing with it. I did nothing with it. It was like a huge regret of mine because I'm like, because obviously you know that they do like performances with people that are in the National Youth Theatre, and potentially they go on to then perform
Mhm,
with National Theatre.
mhm,
But I didn't really understand it. I didn't really do my research. So I just kind of went with, oh, I'm in the National Youth Theatre. And that was enough for me at that time. But then I kind of came to like a crossroads after I did my A levels. I was like, do I want to study like performing arts? Do I want to do a proper degree? And have that as my backup.
mhm.
Um, and I actually went a completely different route because I was like, oh, I was doing art as well. And my art teachers, bless them, they used to say to me, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to apply to some art schools. And they were like, oh, you should apply to Croydon College. Just apply to Croydon College. Nothing's wrong with Croydon College, don't
Yeah,
get me
yeah.
wrong.
Well,
But
back then,
obviously,
not I don't know about now, but yeah.
I was aiming higher.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
specifically because they said that to me, I then applied to some of the
Mhm.
big ones. And then I got into Central St. Martin's and I was like,
Oh.
boom, there you
Mhm.
go. And so my intention then was, right, I'm not going to do like study performing arts. I'm going to like go down the route of graphic design because
Okay.
I enjoy art, but I hated it. I hated just everything about, there's nothing, don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing Central St. Martin's, but I was on like a foundation course. I don't think I probably made as much effort to get to know people. And I just found a lot of people very pretentious. And there weren't that many people like me.
Mhm.
So you know what I mean. So it just I didn't feel very comfortable there, and so I just stopped going. I just didn't go anymore.
Mhm.
Um, and then I just ended up getting a full-time job for a bit before I then decided, right, I'm going to go to uni and study human rights and English lit. So again, completely off on a
Mhm.
totally different tangent from like performing. So I did that, and whilst I was doing that, I kind of felt like, oh, I miss performing, like I miss acting. So I'd finished uni. I was working full time still. And that's when I was like on Star Now and I'd see little things going on or things posted on social media. And I did this play called Sticking the Knife In, and it was performed at the Tabernacle, which was fun. And then after I did that, I was like, oh, maybe I do want to do some like, just for fun. So
Mhm.
then I enrolled in Identity. And I was there for, what was I there for? Maybe a couple of years. I was at Identity for. And then people around me were like, oh, yeah, I've got an agent, or yeah, I'm getting jobs. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I could do that.
Mhm.
So then signed with a commercial agent at the time, and then moved on to an agent that represented me fully. And yeah, and then it just kind of went from there. So it all kind of ended up being not accidental, but I guess more born out of just passion for the arts, just in general, just
Mhm.
needing to do it to feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't at the time wasn't even bothered about making money from it. I just wanted to do it because I missed acting.
Mhm.
And then I was just fortunate enough that I've now ended up at a point where I can make money from it and do have an agent. So, that's great.
That's a good journey. I think it's always a common theme when I'm interviewing actors this season. Like they've either started off really young, fell out of it, and then got back into it because it's like it's something that just keeps it's even the back of your mind or it just keeps clinging to it's what you're supposed to do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like literally what you're supposed to do. And when was that? Like when did you like decide to like this is what it's gonna be? And you went to Identity and got an agent as well. Like what how long ago was that?
2017,
Oh,
that
okay.
was.
Fine,
Yeah,
fine. Okay, so not really that
2017.
long ago. But that's good.
No. Yeah, I mean
Mhm.
the performance I did at the Tabernacle, I think that was
Mhm.
probably earlier than that. I think that might have been even 2012, that might have been. So there was
Right.
still a gap between
Hmm.
that and actually deciding, right, what is it that I want to do? But
Right, right,
I
right.
think my personal opinion, no offense to anybody else, but I just feel like to be in this industry, you have to have a passion for it. Like, I don't feel like you can do it for money because it doesn't come to you like that unless you're like, what's
Listen,
the movie star? Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
You
yeah,
there has to be a passion for it because there
yeah.
are going to be so many no's, so many quiet periods, so many points where you're not making money. If it's not
Mhm,
coming from a place of passion,
mhm.
then like the drive is
Yeah.
going to be different and maybe might not be sustainable.
Yeah, it's so true, so true. Because it's a recurring theme as well. Like I speak to people and they're like, "Yeah, my parents were like, nah, you're not doing that." And it's like, we're fighting against them. Like, what do you mean? This is my passion, I want to do. Nah, they're being realistic because there's no money. Okay,
Mhm. Yeah,
unless you are the very few who get into that 1% who make millions, then yeah, you're fine. So it's very, very difficult, and you do have to be passionate and
mm,
yeah, you've got to have tough skin because it
yeah,
can be tough. And that's not even to say
mm,
that we all have tough skin because I'm sure we break down and be like, I'm done with this. I'm tired. Like,
yeah.
why am I not here, but yeah, we keep pushing, you know?
I think what I've learned is that what's happening today is not necessarily
Mhm.
what's going to be happening tomorrow. Like you
Yeah.
might be sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't
Hmm.
booked a job in months, or I haven't got an agent, or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And then the next day things could completely change. That's life anyway.
Hmm.
But I think
Hmm.
especially like in
Yeah.
this industry, things can just
Mhm.
change like that. And you're like, well, yesterday I did not think that this was even on the cards, and today it
Yeah,
is. So
exactly.
I think you just got to
Mhm.
hang in there, really,
Mhm.
isn't
It's
it?
true, it's true, it's true. And you saying you did that in like 2017, we kind of connected like 2018 when I was casting for season 2 of my web series Imperfect. And you was casted, but then things went awry. And it would have been good to work with you on that. And I was really excited about that season actually, because we really was going to take the characters in like a different direction. And yeah, one day we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
But it would have been good to work with you in that capacity.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you've just gone from strength to strength. You've been able to,
Yeah.
I've seen you in commercials. It was so funny because once I used to work at Discovery Channel and I used to work in broadcast operations, and a lot of that is like continuity checking, reviewing commercials, and you was in one of them. It was like I was like, oh, look at Eloise. And it was like I can't remember one. It was like you were floating in the air or something.
Oh, yeah.
It was on the ball. I was like, look at that. I just
That was
love
a
seeing.
Dutch one, actually.
Oh,
That's a
really?
Dutch
Okay.
commercial.
Yeah. And I was just like, I just love being able to like watch people I know just like on screen, like, oh, look, there's so and so, there's so and so. And it's great to just see that. And,
Yeah.
those are the little moments where it makes it worth the while, you know?
Yeah, it's exciting. Like when you see
Mm.
not just yourself, but when you see your friends, when you see
Yeah.
people
Hmm.
like progressing, like
Yeah.
it's just like, oh my gosh, like it's inspiring because you're like, this
Hmm.
person stuck at it and they carried on doing what they were doing and look
Exactly.
now where they are. Like
Exactly.
it's a real lesson, isn't it?
Exactly. So tell me about how you got casted in the big film that you were just in recently, Something in the Water, which was in cinemas last month. And I think, is it over now, the cinema run or
Yeah, the cinema runs over, and I
okay.
think they're going to be they are going to be streaming it. When I don't know,
Yeah,
they
it'll
haven't told
probably
us
be
yet.
on Netflix very soon. I feel like it will definitely get like a Netflix following. So, like Something in the Water, is your typical shark film. I had to go and watch it. I was like, I have to go
Thank
and see it,
you.
and because it's so good just to see somebody like casted in something where this is what dreams are made of, and listen, I hate shark films. Listen, I was sitting there like, and it's so funny. It was just me and one other person in the cinema room, so it was just like, and I'm sweating. I hate sharks. Yeah, you would think I love the water and I'm swimming, but it's just I always get anxious. But like, what was it like? Like, how did you get casted? What was that whole process like?
So the I did the tape in September 2022,
Mhm.
and I basically when I got the script, I obviously was excited because I was like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
this would be the biggest thing that I've
Mhm.
ever like gotten to do, like
Yeah.
film wise.
Hmm.
And it was with a massive studio, so I was
Yeah.
like,
Studio
oh, okay,
Canal, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually contacted Ben Cogan, who's a casting director, but he also does like coaching. And I think that was that the first tape I used him for. It might be the first tape I ever used him for. And he's just great. He just really, especially when you're having to recreate a scene that is probably very difficult, like one in water.
Mhm.
Um, I was like, how do I even go about this? I couldn't. I was like, what do I do? So it was great to have his advice and input. And he actually sent me like an extract from the Jaws novel,
Mm.
um, where Chrissy's in the water right at the very beginning. And it's a brilliant like description of a woman being in the water, being bitten, whatever.
Mhm.
And it just really got my mind going because I was like, oh wow, like yeah, that I won't go into the details of it, but it was really great to read. So I did the tape, sent it off, and I think I heard after about a week later,
Wow.
I heard there was no recall with mine.
Wow.
It was literally from
Mhm.
the tape, and I was just like, oh, are you? I was like, are you kidding me? I literally was saying that
Mm.
to my just like, are yeah, for real? Um,
Wow.
it was just the most like insane
Mm.
feeling. I was like, because so many things come up because I I work full time, I have a daughter, I have a husband. So I'm just like so happy on one hand, but on the other, I'm like, okay, now I've got to do some serious balancing because filming was going to be for, I think they put it down for 5 to 6 weeks.
Mm.
And that is obviously a long time to be away from your family, from your
Mhm.
children, from
Mhm.
work.
Mhm.
Um, but I was very fortunate that my work are just, they're so supportive of me anyway.
Good.
And they had given me time off. It was unpaid, but it was time off so that I knew when I came back, I could go back to work.
Right.
Um, and my husband is always just like, he's just the most amazing man, like
Mm.
so support anything I want to do.
Mhm.
He's just like, yeah, go for it.
Mm.
Because I think in his head, he always says to me, like, you have the ability to potentially change our lives. So I just want you to do whatever it is that you need to do. Like, so it's so nice to have somebody who has that like faith in you
Mhm.
that you could reach those heights potentially.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I told everyone that I needed to tell. I missed my daughter's birthday as well, which I was gutted about. I'd organised it though
Mhm. Okay.
previously before
Okay.
I knew
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
taking the role.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
already sorted that all out. But
Mhm.
yeah, so we went out there. It was all very surreal to be honest with you,
Mhm.
because I was like obviously I read the contract and then like,
Mhm.
yeah, you get this and you get that. And I
Yeah.
was like, what? So we went out there, we had a week prep. So we worked with like this really great stunt team. Like they're just so amazing. Like stunt men and stunt women, flipping out, they're just like, because what they do, and essentially risking like themselves, their lives potentially, like each time they're doing certain things, they're just amazing. And my stunt double is called Yasmin Chadwick. She's just great, and she helped me like with some of the things that I needed to do.
Mhm.
So we spent that week kind of working on that, a lot of prep stuff, hair, makeup, all that kind of stuff, and then just went into filming it. And it was it was the most amazing
Mhm.
experience, I would say, like working of
Yeah.
my life. Like I've never had such a amazing experience from the people we were working with. Like the cast were all great, like just it was like family away from home really.
Yeah.
So to see it all come together is like quite like mind blowing. It's like, whoa, this is what
Mhm.
we did.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. And where did you shoot it? Because the islands just look beautiful. Like, where
Yeah,
was it?
Dominican Republic, and we shot
Okay.
it in October 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And we finished in November
Mm-hmm.
of that year. So it's been
Oh, wow.
almost,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, a little while. Obviously with the strikes and things, lots of things got pushed back, delayed, not just for our production, for other things, I think. But yeah, it was just so great to see it all come together, and also to see everyone again.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's been so long since
Yeah.
like as a few of us as cast, we've like met up, like the obviously Nicole, she lives in America, but the four of us who do live here, we have met up. But it was nice to see everyone else, like the director and everything. I've met the director as well before and kept in touch, and also the producer, Julie. She's great. She's come to a couple of my shows as well. So it's been really nice to kind of keep in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just a great experience, to be honest.
Oh, nice. I mean, to spend 5 to 6 weeks in Dominica, like all expense paid, you know, gosh, that must have been amazing. And obviously the weather was amazing. Like to be in that country at like
Yeah.
October, November, like wow,
Yeah.
love that.
They did have hurricanes before,
Oh wow,
but we
okay.
weren't there for it. But the director had to deal with all the hurricanes.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
we weren't too bad. We were
Mm.
just coming out of hurricane season
Okay,
when we
good,
started.
good, good. So like we know when you auditioned and did your self-tape, was it okay, spoiler alert, guys, but like was it the moment where you got bitten? Was that what you had to like audition with?
I did that, and I also
Hmm.
did the part where you're introduced to Ruth as
Okay.
well,
Okay.
when
Oh
she's
yeah.
walking along the beach. So
Yes,
I
yes,
had
yes, yes.
those two scenes,
Okay.
and the writer, Kat Clark, again, so lovely.
Mhm.
She was just like, "You're." When I watched your tape, I cried. And I was like, "What? I made you cry?" She was like, "Yeah, I cried." Like I was just like, and I felt so proud because I was
Mhm.
like, obviously you do your tape and you do your best,
Yeah.
but you know it's an audition tape, and you know that whoever's watching it knows it's an audition tape, so you never expect to like impact somebody in that way
Mhm.
just from an audition tape,
Yeah.
which obviously you should be aiming to, but you
Mhm. Yeah,
just don't expect that
yeah.
to be the
Yeah,
case.
yeah, yeah.
So when she said that, I just felt so like
Mm.
proud. I was like, oh, like I really felt proud of myself for not making her cry, but
Mhm.
invoking emotion
Yeah, yeah.
from just a
Mhm.
little, makeshift setup that I
Mhm.
had in my living room.
Mhm.
Like it's
Mhm.
literally here where I
Yeah,
do my
yeah,
self
yeah.
tape.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so yeah.
No, I definitely understand that because sometimes when you've like written a character or you know a character so well, and then when you see somebody audition for it and they've got the right pitch of like what you see the character is, it gets you so excited. Like, yes, this is the one, this is the one, this is who it is. So I totally understand that. And it just
Mm,
shows that you were perfect for the role. Like you fit in
mm,
so well. So I mean,
mm,
that was just so good. So I mean,
yeah.
and what was it like? Because you know, you said you had like a stunt woman. So what was it like for you to like be in that environment? Because like, sorry guys, there's loads of spoilers. Go watch the film. But but like, because it was just like you could tell it was coming. Like I don't know, it just sets the tone. You could tell it was coming, and I was like, please, not Eloise, please. Just make sure the black girl does not die first. Like, please, okay. And then damn, I was like, no, like you had to
I
get,
know, but do you know
yeah.
what?
Mm,
I love that scene because it's the catalyst for everything to come. So I
yeah.
was like, do you know what? If like whatever's going to happen is going to happen,
Hmm.
at least it's like such a like I loved the scene,
Hmm.
and I just felt like to be the catalyst for everything else. Yeah, okay,
That's
cool.
true,
I'll
true, true,
I'll
true.
I'll I'll roll with it.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and I just thought it was like so well written, and the way that Haley Easton Street, the director,
Mm.
decided to go in and shoot it, like
Yeah.
it just yeah, when she was like, we're going to keep it on you and
Hmm.
just keep watching your reaction. We're not going
Yeah.
to look at the other girls,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was yeah.
It was
So and
really powerful because it really
thank
had
you.
effect on you because like you knew something was coming because you just know the theme of the film, like you know what it's
Mm,
about, but then it's just the
mhm,
way like you jolted forward a little bit, and like that's the importance of screen acting. Like your
mm.
facial expressions really gave like whoa, like how do you react to being bitten? Like you've never been bitten before, so you really like it's kind of like huh, like what, and then it
But
just
that's where the Jaws extract really came
mm,
in handy because I'd seen like people write things like, oh, why is she just standing there and saying
mm,
she's fine? But it's like, if you think about the actual legit, like if something had happened to your leg and you didn't see it, because remember how linked your mind is
yeah.
to what you see,
Hmm.
um, you know something is wrong. Like in the Jaws extract, she knows something's wrong.
Yeah.
but she can't work it out. You've got all that adrenaline pumping through you, so you're not feeling any pain at this moment in time yet. And all she is actually feeling is just warmth
Yeah.
around that area, just a
Mm-hmm.
warm kind of like
Yeah.
gush come over her leg.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only after that point, and then obviously she sees this is in the
Blood.
Jaws extract, by the way, not
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
just I don't
Yeah,
get
yeah,
too much.
yeah.
No, give a spoiler, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that you have to picture that in your head what that feeling is like, and that's how it was written anyway in
Mm-hmm.
Kat's script.
Mm-hmm.
So you obviously are going to honor what's in the script, but also
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
completely understand because
Mm-hmm.
if you're
Mm-hmm.
not seeing it and
Yeah.
you don't know what's happened and you
Mm-hmm.
got all this adrenaline, you're not
Mm-hmm.
feeling
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
pain
Yeah,
initially.
yeah, yeah.
So I just kind of had all of that in my head of kind of just confusion and what is this, and like what it would be like to feel that
Mm-hmm.
feeling,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, it's so cool. Because what I love about this second art show is many questions as I want to, because I've not done a film like this and I want to. So like when as I said, guys, spoilers are ahead. So yeah. You haven't watched the film, then go watch it. But like you see like when the boat gets damaged because she's driving too fast and she hits the rock and then you
Mhm.
guys are just like having to float, and they're holding your body up. Like, what was
Mhm.
that like for you? Was it the stunt woman or was it actually you like trying to act like you were unconscious?
It was a bit of both.
Okay.
I think the generally all the actors kind of did their bits together,
Mhm.
and all the stunt doubles did their bits together. But there were moments where
Okay.
there might be people swapped in.
Right, right, right.
I was really ill towards the end,
Mm.
with really awful flu.
Mhm.
And I know Yasmin did do quite a few bits for me, like kind of lying in the boat kind of
Okay.
thing.
Mhm.
But like they also did like their own stuff as well, like
Yeah, yeah.
floating in the ocean, all that kind of
Okay.
stuff.
Fine. Mhm.
So there were moments where you
Mhm.
might need somebody to stand in,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
because the thing is, it's great filming abroad and in a hot location, but there are also other things which come with filming anyway. People getting ill,
Yeah.
um, what is it? Heat stroke, all
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Mhm.
there's just a lot
Yeah.
going on, and not everybody's going to stay healthy
No.
throughout that whole period
No.
of shooting.
No. No.
So it was
Yeah.
great to have people
Good.
able to stand in
Good.
and
Good.
help as well.
Good. So were there bits what was shot in the studio as well? Or were you like in the water throughout the whole time? Like, because like it looks so good. So like how did they do that?
We were in a tank. We
Oh,
were
fair.
in a
Okay.
so we did a fair amount in the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the bits close to shore were
Yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah,
all shot there, but
yeah. Mm-hmm.
all the stuff that was done in the ocean was in the tank.
Okay.
Um, the tank was very challenging. It's very cold in the tank,
I bet, I bet.
extremely cold in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like being in the sea, and you're in there for quite long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone was in good spirits, and we all
Good,
like
good.
had a laugh with it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we were in the tank in Pinewood Studios in Dominican. They have, I think, like the
Okay.
largest
Mm-hmm.
tank. They were actually filming. Oh, what's it called again? The film with Jake Gyllenhaal and McGregor
I don't know.
on Amazon.
Oh, it just came out recently. Oh, I know what you mean. It's
Yeah,
just come out recently. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Fine,
They were
fine.
filming around the same time as us,
Okay.
but they were also using the tank, so we had to wait for them to finish using the tank.
Yeah,
We didn't
yeah.
spot Jake Gyllenhaal, unfortunately. We did try, but we didn't spot
Nice,
him.
nice, nice. Well, this is just sounds so good. Yeah, and I get to just quiz you about all my thoughts. Like, how did they do that? But that just sounds like such a good experience as well. So, what was it like? Like, did you have like a good big premiere? Like red carpet? How was that like? Or did it even happen?
No, because it's a low budget,
Mm,
there obviously isn't budget for that.
mm,
But we did have a really lovely cast and crew
good,
screening.
good.
And that's where we got to kind of see we saw the film for the first time. That's when we got
Mm-hmm,
to see everyone.
mm-hmm,
Um, but it was still lovely. And I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? Like
mm-hmm.
you kind of understand that the budget probably need to go elsewhere, like promoting the film and
Yeah,
marketing
yeah,
the film rather than putting on
yeah.
a jolly for us. So we're just like, okay, cool.
It's fine. It's fine. It will come. It will come. It will
Yeah,
come.
yeah,
That's really good.
hopefully.
So then after that, now that it's come out,
Mhm.
like what has the reaction been? Has there been anything for you, like your agent reaching out to you about new stuff? Like what's that been?
Mm. Do you know what? It's not really. I mean, the time it's so difficult, the times that we're in right now, and coming off the back of strikes, and not even just the strikes, the way
Mm-hmm,
industry is funding, all that kind of stuff. It's
mm-hmm.
just a very difficult place to be, I think, regardless of whether you've got um film credits or
Yeah,
no credits.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's just, and
Exactly,
that's not meaning to
exactly.
say that
Mm-hmm.
the experience of those two actors is going to be the same, because I can appreciate it's
Of course.
very
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, it's just it's what it is. I'm just still trying to navigate what it looks like for me,
Yeah.
because the film has only just come out,
Mm-hmm.
and I've kind of made some moves uh
Mm-hmm.
to different to work with different people.
Yeah,
Let's just do it like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to see what that now
Mm-hmm.
looks like for
Mm-hmm.
me. But I mean, I don't think you should put everything on a job. Do you know what I mean? I don't. As nice as it would be to be like, hey, I've got this film that I did.
Mm-hmm.
You want me
Yeah,
to work with you?
yeah,
It just
yeah,
doesn't work like
yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
not how it
yeah,
is. I mean,
yeah.
maybe many years ago it might have done, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think those things necessarily hold as much weight as they may have done in the past. I think
Mm-hmm.
what holds weight is just consistently working hard and trying to
Yes,
get out there and trying to
yes.
book jobs and trying to get as much
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
exposure to different like casting directors, producers,
Exactly,
all of those
exactly.
people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a constant hustle.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
essentially what it
I
is.
totally
It's just
agree.
constant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good. I love that you said that because so many people think like, yeah, once I get this role, this is it for me. But it's like, nah,
Yeah.
like
It's
it's
not.
really not like that at all.
It's
This
so
is
sad
yeah.
though, isn't it? Because
Mm-hmm.
there was a time where it was like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But that is not now.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
is not
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, unless you're in something that is like just got like worldwide critical acclaim or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, in most cases,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, great,
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed that. On to the next thing. And
Yeah.
because we have so many accessible places to go and watch all these different things, it
Mm-hmm.
is pretty much, I watched that, okay, cool, on to the next one. And not
Exactly.
necessarily much
Yeah.
time to dwell on
True.
those previous
True.
projects.
No,
So,
that's such a good point because we have
mhm,
so much access to be able to watch films. Like, depending on what country you're in as well, like,
mhm,
there's so many options in the industry, especially when you think of like America. It's not just like the big Hollywood blockbuster movies, they've got streaming services, you've got those
mhm.
little TV cable programs,
Yeah,
like those movies, TV movies, like there's movies, so everybody's in the movie, like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
exactly,
like, you know, some of the
exactly.
people who are terrible actors, they're in movies, you know what I mean? Like, it's such an oversaturated market. So it's like
Yeah.
here as well in the UK, it's great to see a British film. I try to make sure I watch as much British films in the cinema as
Mhm,
well. And it's just a bonus when I know them. It's so cool. I love
mhm.
to go and support people. Even like Josh when he was in Saltburn, definitely had
Yeah,
to go and see him in that as well. Like because it's like your peers and people you know and you're
exactly.
everybody because we all know how difficult and tough it is,
Yeah, yeah,
and you have to always take away from comparing yourself to the next person because like you said, like
exactly.
you still have a 9 to 5 job, you're still juggling being a wife, a mother. That's all tough, and trying to
Mhm.
be successful in this like unstable career. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's not easy, is it? And I think anybody in the industry knows it's
Mhm.
not easy. And that's what I was saying at the beginning. It has to come from a place of
Yeah,
passion, because
yeah.
what you think might be like
Mhm.
your big break
Hmm.
is just not, that's not the reality now. Like it's just not.
Hmm.
You can't even focus on that. You just
Hmm.
got to focus on like
Yeah.
booking as many things
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
can
Exactly.
that align
Exactly.
with whatever it is you want to
Hmm.
do, and
Hmm.
you know the rest will follow. I think even those really successful actors, you know, still have to audition a lot
Yeah.
of the time, especially nowadays, still
Hmm.
have to audition.
Yeah.
And there'll be people that you wouldn't even expect still have to audition. But you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like some they just get offered roles, the director might say, "Oh, I want you, I want you." And
Mhm.
I've worked with directors like that who, even if they're not big established ones, like let's say
Mhm.
Quentin Tarantino, but they see actors and they're like, "You're the one," and they just want to like
Mhm.
have a meeting with them to gauge like their personality, if they bond,
Yeah,
and then they'll just cast them straight away and work with them. And
yeah,
usually, like they're right, so that can
yeah,
happen the odd time, but not all the time. So yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But one of the things I have realized,
Mhm.
just generally, not any specific job, but
Mhm.
like you have to be yourself.
Yeah.
Like put your personality into it. Do you know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like don't be, I used to be so worried about doing things properly and
Yeah.
correctly.
Mhm.
And you know, and it's not that you shouldn't have that in your mind, but also like have a bit of freedom to it as well. Like if you want to, like if you think something might be right for whatever it is that you're doing, whether it be in self-tape or not, like just do it, try it out, because they might actually really like that.
Hmm.
And that is showing who you are as a person. And I think that's what I've started to realize. In such an oversaturated market, the only thing that's going to make you stand out is
Hmm.
you being you and
Exactly.
bringing you to whatever it is that you're
Hmm.
doing,
Hmm.
which is much easier than said when you're trying to pretend to be someone else. But yeah, you've got
Yeah.
to try and
Yeah.
find that
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah. 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 But you also was able to be in the National Youth Theatre play The House of Bernarda Alba last year.
Yeah.
So I mean that is huge. Like the National Theatre is so big. So like what was it like going from like yes, being in your first feature to then being on like such a big theatre stage as well?
Um, it was definitely it felt like a full circle moment a little bit because of the thing I'd said about National Youth Theatre. And that
Hmm.
I actually said it when I posted on my Instagram about it. I was like, when I was at 14, it was a huge regret of mine after, you know, you hit 20, I think it's 25 now, you hit 25 and you're no longer
Hmm.
a active member of the National Youth Theatre. I really regretted not having done anything with that. And I always kind of thought, oh, will I ever actually get to perform on a national theatre stage? Like, will that ever happen? So for it to happen, I was just like, wow, this is just amazing. And I'm so glad that I actually did get here in the end,
Hmm.
even though I was so unserious when I first became part of the National Youth Theatre. I'm glad that it came around in the end.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a lot to learn, isn't it?
Hmm.
Theatre is so challenging because earlier in the year I actually did a play about a mixed Jamaican woman called Fanny Eaton, and it was a one woman show that I had done, and so that in itself was just hard, really like it's so enjoyable, and I learned so much about Fanny Eaton. Look her up if you don't know about her. She's a artist muse, but she's more than just an artist muse. And yeah, she just has a great story. She came over from Jamaica and had a British husband, and she just was brought in by all these artists to pose. Because her look was quite ambiguous, she was often painted as a Indian woman, you know, all different types of women.
Hmm.
But anyway, so I did that, and I was just like, oh, going to give theatre a break because sometimes you do need a little break from theatre. And then National Theatre came about, House Bernarda Alba. I
Hmm.
was like, okay, cool. Because it's working with some really great people. I mean, Rosalind, Harriet Walters, like just some amazing, amazing women. And again, it's like kind of a female-led production, very much similar to Something in the Water.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was just a great experience. And I think theatre teaches you so much. I always, for me personally, I think every actor should try and do some theatre
Hmm.
because theatre is not the same as screen. and it will teach you some things that maybe you can't get from just being a screen performer.
Yeah.
My personal opinion might be
Mhm.
controversial, but yeah. Um,
I agree.
but I think you learn a lot doing theatre, and every night as well, having to bring it every night.
Mhm.
And there's no retakes. Like you go on stage, you say what you have to say, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it was a very small part, but I really enjoyed it. I covered a few other roles. I was understudy as well for another role, which I never actually went on for. But it's just great to know that your brain has the capacity to learn all those lines, learn all that blocking, and still do all like your other lines and your blocking for the role that you're actually
Mhm.
doing. So yeah,
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
it's a great
Yeah. Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And to work with Rebecca Frecknell as well was great. So and Alice Birch, who did the adapted version of House of Bernarda Alba. Yeah, it was great.
Mhm. It's so good to hear that. And I do agree that you do need to do theatre because it's a different type of acting. Screen acting and theatre acting is so different. And
Mm-hmm.
especially like, you've got to be more emotive and expressive and you've got to project your voice,
Mm-hmm.
you have to engage the audience, especially with the one woman show that you did. Like that's a lot of pressure. It's just you. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like a supporting cast.
Yeah,
And yeah, and I always imagine like it must be so interesting seeing the different audience reactions to things like every night. And it's like because you never know when they're gonna laugh, or you might think, oh, that's the funny bit, and they're not laughing, okay. And then they laugh
yeah,
at something completely different, or they're
different
gasping at
every
this.
night.
And that's what I love about theater as well. And I want to get
Different
into
every
it
night.
because of that as well.
Yeah, and it
Love
was
that.
nice because when
Mhm.
I did the one woman show, there was a vocal coach who used to be a vocal coach for National Theatre, I think some other theatres as well.
Mhm.
And she actually said to the director, she's great, she should be on stage at like, the National or something like that. And then for it to then happen later in the
Yeah, yeah,
year,
yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, that is just
Mhm.
wild. And
Yeah,
that's really
yeah.
nice that
Mhm.
actually maybe what someone is seeing in me actually
Mhm.
is something that could happen, something
Yeah,
that could
yeah.
be. So I
Mhm.
think a lot of it kind of helps with that kind of self-belief and that confidence because we all go through
Mhm.
periods where we're just like, I don't know. So it's nice to have people that
Yeah.
really have confidence in you and say it to you
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. So, like, how do you find balancing your job and like doing theater? Like, what was that like? Because did you have is it matinees, which is like in the afternoon and then the evening? Like, did you have two shows sometimes in one day? How did you
Yeah.
manage that? Oh,
We had
okay.
that on Wednesdays. We had a matinee
Mhm.
on Wednesday and on Saturday, which wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Again, my work were just amazing. During the rehearsal period, I had uh, leave, unpaid leave during that
Okay.
time. And then I basically worked flexibly because of the role I was doing wasn't huge.
Mhm.
I could be, working when I
Sure, sure,
wasn't
sure.
rehearsing. I
Okay,
wasn't
good.
necessarily rehearsing every single day.
Hmm.
But for the most part, when I was rehearsing, it was unpaid leave. And I
Hmm.
think I had one week, which was tech and
Hmm.
previews, which we did still have to come in. So I kind of took some
Okay.
leave then and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then when the show was up and running, it was fine. Again, I just took leave on the days with
Mhm.
the matinee
Yeah, yeah,
performances.
yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
theatre, I find quite difficult because although, yeah, depending on what you're filming, you could be away for a period of time filming, fine. But with theatre, it's missing like my daughter's bedtime pretty much every single night. Like the only night I get to like do the bedtime routine is on a Sunday.
Mm.
So for me, I have to be quite not picky, but I
Mhm.
do have to really think about what it is I'm going to accept. And I have to think about the impact that it's going to have
Mhm.
on my family, on my daughter, but also like my work to an extent because I'm still trying to like they're very supportive and I want it to stay that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to balance all of that to make
Mhm.
sure that you're doing what you need to do when you're in work so
Mhm.
that when you do need that time that your work is happy to give that to you because they know that you put in the work. It's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard balancing it all.
Mhm.
And I don't know how I'm doing it.
Mhm.
I'm doing it somehow, but I don't. But you just do.
Mhm.
If it's something that you really want and
Mhm.
you really enjoy and you're, again, passionate about, you will make whatever work.
Yeah.
Like you will
Mhm.
do what you have to do.
Mhm.
Maybe it might become a situation where maybe I won't be able to do theatre as much as my daughter gets older and being away
Yeah.
from her for that period of time affects her more. I don't know, but you
Mm,
just have to play it by ear, isn't it? And just work out,
yeah.
how best to manage things.
Yeah, 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 definitely. But
Mm,
that's really good how you shared that because so many people can relate to what you're saying because
mm,
it's so difficult. And you also want to be able to have kids, have a husband, because
mhm.
sometimes people put that off because it's like, no, I've got to focus on my career, but it's like you've got to live your life.
Yeah,
Look,
you
people,
do.
the industry needs to learn how to adapt to people having regular lives. We should be allowed to do
Yeah,
what everybody else does in other industries, and that's something what's really important.
exactly. And also, like being a parent in this industry, I think we're starting to learn it a lot more. But if you don't have childcare,
Hmm.
ask them, can my child just come with me? They'll
Hmm.
just sit there, quite obviously, depending on what it is. But like, I've
Yeah.
had Amaya
Hmm.
sitting on an audition. They were fine. She sat there with the cast director.
Hmm.
She watched, and yeah, they asked, they said, "Oh, how what do you think mommy did well?" She was like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So just,
Hmm.
you have to, I'm not saying in regards to children, but just in general in life, like, you can't put off things in life. Like, you still have to have a life. And it is so hard because I do feel, even myself sometimes, a bit almost consumed
Hmm.
by just wanting to do more
Yeah.
and, audition more and go to more classes and do more
Hmm.
of this. But you still got to have a life and
Yeah.
operate outside of it because, yeah, it's not,
Yeah.
it's just not healthy.
Definitely, definitely.
Mhm.
So I've been asking every actor this, and I think I'm probably going to know one of your answers. But it's like, is there any film or TV shows that you wish you could have been in, like what are currently airing, or which
Yeah.
have ended years ago?
You know already.
Yes.
Obviously Buffy,
Hmm.
but Black Mirror. I love Black
Oh,
Mirror.
yeah.
I love
Good one.
old school Black Mirror. I did like the new season that they just did, but the old school Black Mirror is
Mhm.
just my jam. Like,
Yeah.
love it.
Hmm.
I love, like, Star Trek Discovery was
Okay.
awesome.
Okay. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
that was really great.
Hmm.
And I do like British, like, drama, crime kind of thrillers, like
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I am a sci-fi horror gal, so hence why I say the ones I said. But I
Yeah.
do love a bit of
Hmm.
crime,
Hmm. Because you
crime
have
thriller.
been, I know I've seen you were a police officer in EastEnders, so you've done it, you've done your little bit. So I can see you
A little
playing
bit of
like
crime
a
fighting.
detective in them ITV crime dramas. I mean, casting directors, hello, like
I know, here.
like Eloise is here. Okay, nice. And what about any films? Like any films you'd want to like be in, or currently just out or past?
Mm, I obviously Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. I just love. I've just
Mm,
always loved that one. And
okay.
Moulin Rouge. They're
Mm,
just two of my faves.
mhm.
Um, in terms of, I love After Sun. I wouldn't want to be in it, but After Sun was
Okay,
just
yeah,
such
yeah,
an
yeah.
emotional roller coaster.
Hmm.
But that's
Hmm.
just one of my favorite movies as well.
Okay.
Do you know what I like? Maybe okay. So the
Hmm.
producer of Something in the Water, she produced this film called Creep.
Hmm.
There's two different Creep films. There's
Okay.
one with this guy in this house, and there's one which is set on the London Underground.
Hmm.
And it's the one in the London Underground that
Okay.
Julie Baines, the producer for Something in the Water, she produced
Hmm.
that as well.
Okay.
I love that movie. I fangirled. When Julie called me, one of the first things I said was, "Yeah, you did the Creep, didn't you?" And Triangle. And she was like,
Uh-huh.
"Yeah." But I think maybe that those films like Creep, I
Okay.
just love Creep. Like,
Hmm.
to be locked in the underground after it
Hmm.
closes and have to go through the
Hmm.
tunnels
I've not heard
and
about
find
this film. I need to watch this.
it's so good. But I
Okay.
don't know if it's on any streaming services at the moment. But it's called Creep, and it's got
Okay.
like a picture
Hmm.
of the underground train, the back of an underground train.
Yeah.
But it's such a good film,
Okay.
like old
Okay.
school, like
Yeah.
horror film, like two
Okay.
thousands.
Oh, okay. I have to see because that sounds really good. I'd love to watch something like that because we don't get to see a lot of like creepy underground, well, like British
Mm.
films which are set in like our kind of setting like that,
Mhm.
like.
Yeah.
look at use underground all the time. Like that is so scary. Like think about
It
it.
is, isn't
See
it?
like the
Like you look down the
subway.
tunnel and you're like,
Exactly.
what's down there?
Exactly. Randomly, I remember once I was going out like clubbing one time, and like the most to me it was very sinister. Like a bird flew underground, right? And then it sat on the tracks, and I watched it wait for the train, and then obviously the train just went right past it, and I was like that, and I was like, is that like a pre? Am I gonna die tonight? Like that's what I was starting to think because like
That would
why
be
am
a
I?
great shot
Yeah,
for a movie, like at the
yeah,
start of
yeah.
it.
It literally the pigeon just sat there like waiting for the train. It's like, did I just watch a bird commit suicide? Like, and I just felt like, am I gonna die tonight? Like, luckily, clearly I'm alive, but like I was starting to freak out a bit because it was so
Oh, good.
dark.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
imagine if there's like more films like that, you know? So yeah, that's really
Yeah.
okay. And lastly, are there any like writers and directors who are dead or alive that you'd love to work with,
Um,
or who would have worked with if they were alive?
like anyone involved with Supercell, absolutely.
Oh, yes,
Like they,
yes,
that
yeah,
whole team,
mm-hmm,
Sheila, Sebastian,
yeah,
Ratman,
yeah,
like just,
mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm,
elite. So I would love to work with them.
mm-hmm.
Um, writers, I'd love to work with Kat again. She's great. I'd love to work on something screen that Alice Birch has done.
Okay.
Um, who's the new director of 28 Days Later? Nia,
Oh, Nia DaCosta.
yeah, Nia
Mm-hmm.
DaCosta.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
love to work with her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm so terrible. Forgive me. I'm bad with names, so don't judge me. But I'd
Mm-hmm.
love to work with her, and
Okay.
also the name has gone from my head. Monkey Paw. Would love to work with them.
Oh, Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Mm,
I'm just really
okay.
bad at names.
Yeah,
So
same,
like
same. Don't worry, don't worry.
don't
Same,
judge
same,
me.
same,
I'm
same.
terrible at names.
Same, same, same. Well, Eloise, it's been so good chatting with you and catching up and finding out all the ins and outs of something in water. So where can people find you and see your previous work and stuff like that?
Just I'm on Instagram,
Mhm.
Eloise underscore SH. Do I say that here? Eloise underscore SH. I don't know. They can find my work on Amazon Prime and Netflix, I guess, if you
Mhm.
want to see the tiny scene in The Crown. Um, but yeah, just
Mhm.
I'm just about. I'm about.
Nice. Nice. Well, thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks
As
for
usual,
having me.
guys, you can follow me all on my usual socials. You know them. There's a bunch of them. Stay tuned for new episodes coming soon.